It was February on the Island of Sodor. Today was a very special day. It was the 100th birthday of the Flying Scotsman, one of Gordon's brothers, and the sole survivor, in the real world of course, as all of the other LNER engines of his bases were withdrawn at the same time, many years ago. That day, passengers, enthusiasts, and many other visitors visited Vicarstown and saw the amazing Flying Scotsman, all in awe, as photographs, selfies, and even autographs were being taken. Scotsman stood proud and prominent as the sun sparkled against his livery. He had gone through many changes throughout the years. His most up-to-date one was many years ago, or should I say back in 2016, when he endured in the Great Race. He never won the race, but advised his brother Gordon to wear his safety valve the next time. It was once again a very splendid day. Both Gordon and Scotsman stood side by side as they took a very massive selfie, knowing that this would be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the many memories and generations to come, and such and whatnot. Both engines were pleased to be reunited again. Gordon spoke to Scotsman. "It's great to see you again, brother. I don't know what would I do if..." "Oh, don't worry, Gordon. It's great to be back on Sodor. 100th birthday, no less. Although..." Then Scotsman's face frowned. "Although if I hadn't escaped... whew, I would have been a different story." "What do you mean?" "Well, before I came to your railway all those years ago, before long, I was in the scrapyard. I was awaiting my fate. I sat in a cold, dark siding. 3 of my other classmates, rusted, lifeless. Smokebox door, though, was still adorned. They glistened in the simmering heat that night, the rust eating away at the paints and bodies. 3 random diesels decided to shunt them into the smelting shed to get them out of the way. I never knew them. I never knew the diesels. I never even knew my brothers, the 3 that were sadly scrapped. But I can assure you that they were not the nicest. So my driver told me. One of them used to work with Salty, Spanner I think his name was. They used to be separate 08 shunters before they were converted into a Class 13. It was much hotter in the smelters. I could just smell it than what it was outside. And slowly, one by one, the 3 brothers of mine were shunted into the smelting shed. And then, all 3 diesels took off without a trace. I never saw the diesels again, though it's hard to say where they are now. The smelting doors closed, and the process began. It took well into the night before the last of the scrap was cut up. I stayed there quiet and silent, but I knew that they deserved it for their mistreatment to others. Fortunately, one of my ex-owners saw me. He rescued me, he lit my fire, and we escaped. All the way back. I never returned to that smelting shed again. though I was thankful I was spared. And when I met my owner at the time, many years later I should say, I was converted to run on the US gauge. I ran tours across San Francisco and beyond. It was a splendid time. The passengers loved me. They enjoyed my company. And I thought to myself, shit, this was amazing. I traveled up and down the tourist line. It was splendid. The coaches enjoyed my company too. And I didn't mind the additional adamants to my front and sides, although it was, of course, due to the US law and such. Although one thing did stand out for me, and what was that? Well, although I didn't know it at the time, I knew that there was some that really enjoyed me in many ways possible. I had to take great care around the tight bends, especially in the coldest days. I remember one day, though, just before I had to go back to Britain, there was many people that saw me take off into the sunset. With the coaches, of course. They lined up on the side streets, they saw me in awe. And I enjoyed it the most. Well, at least he didn't get too conceited. Says you. Anyway. The people really enjoyed it. They enjoyed the splendid sights around San Francisco. I took my time. I never went over the speed limit. I never went under the speed limit. I just went at my pace. It was a joyful time. I would go back there in a heartbeat, though it would take forever to get me into my US configuration again, even at today's standards. However, there was a brake van that was just there on the shorebed. People were talking about it and wondered who it was, until I realized that the brake van's name was Bruno. Maybe he was a bad brake van, or maybe it was some other van. I never saw Bruno again, but I just hope he's doing well, if it's already scrapped. Well, I hope he's fine, brother, but why would you say that 3 of your brothers, our brothers, deserve to be scrapped? Because they mistreated engines, I said. They mistreated me, they mistreated you behind your back, they even mistreated other engines. Oh, it was so horrid. They called us horrid names. Damn them all. I am so glad that they... But then, Gordon's whistle went off. Scotsman, your passengers. Oh my goodness, you're right. Where's the time? Thanks for telling me, Gordon, and it was great reminiscing. I must go. Soon the passengers boarded Scotsman, and Flying Scotsman made his way to Kildane. Gordon watched in admiration as his brother took off with his coaches all the way to the end of the line. And soon long after, Gordon took off with his train on his own, all the way to Nafford Station, where the big celebration was to take place. At Kildane, Flying Scotsman was waiting for more passengers to board his coaches. It was exciting. The passengers did get into the coaches, but then, unfortunately, Scotsman's crew ran into a problem. Scotsman himself was nearly out of water, and they would have to refill at the next station. They noticed the water tower just across the end of the yard. However, it was contaminated and they couldn't use it. Scotsman didn't mind, and then they had to get going. Flying Scotsman soared down the line in admiration. Many people went out of the windows to see the engine puff along the line with their coaches. He soared down the valley almost as fast as Gordon did. Flying Scotsman coming through, he said. And then he made his way. As he crossed the viaduct, however, things started to get problematic. He started to run out of water. His crew noticed this, but Scotsman didn't. The train started to get slower and slower, and Flying Scotsman had to do all he can to get to the station. He saw Gordon taking on water. Gordon watched as his brother came to a stop. The coaches were terrified and furious. Flying Scotsman felt bad. "Oh dear," he said. "I am stuck. Gordon, there you are. Could you take me to the station? I think I've ran out of water." "Why, certainly, my dear brother. We must not waste any more time." "Thank you," he said. "Let's make our way, just like old times. Way back when, as they said." And soon, once Gordon was topped up, he went out to the siding and backed down onto Scotsman's line and was coupled up. And soon, Gordon slowly pulled away from the station, humming a very familiar tune that many people knew and dearly loved.
We'll sing a song for Gordon. He's big, he's fast, he's proud. His paint is blue, so strong and true, and his whistle's really loud. The fastest train on Sodor, you can't forget his name. So when we've sung for Gordon, well, let's sing it once again. Through wind and rainy thunders on him we can rely. Reliable and useful too, and that's the reason why. We'll sing a song for Gordon. He's big, he's fast, he's proud. His paint is blue, so strong and true, and his whistle was really loud. The fastest train on Sodor, you can't forget his name. So when we've sung for Gordon, well, let's sing it once again. The journeys never tire him out. He'll work all day and night, and everyone admires him, his boiler gleaming bright. We'll sing a song for Gordon. He's big, he's fast, he's proud. His paint is blue, so strong and true, and his whistle's really loud. The fastest train on Sodor, you can't forget his name. So when we've sung for Gordon, well, let's sing it once again. Let's sing a song for Gordon. He's big, he's fast, he's proud. His paint is blue, so strong and true, and his whistle's really loud. The fastest train on Sodor, you can't forget his name. So when we've sung for Gordon, well, let's sing it once again.
"That was quite the song there, dear brother. Now let's get going," said Scotsman, as Gordon pulled him and his train outside of the station. Gordon was making excellent time. He got up to speed and was soon making his way along the line. They soared up the hill and down the other side. They whooshed through the junctions, passed through stations, past the factories, and passed by the turbine meadow. And passed by a very familiar Season 1 location. Holy shit. Fuck. Gordon was making excellent time. Great going there, brother. We should be there in lots of time, thanks to your incredible speed. They don't call it the LNER for nothing there, my dear brother, said Gordon, who was being cockier than ever. And soon, both Gordon and the Flying Scotsman were nearing the big station at the end of the line. Hurry, 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 said Gordon. At the big station, everyone was excited to see Scotsman. Sir Tom Hatt was out of his office. I will wait 1 more minute, and this time, if they don't both show up, I will send a search party and... But then he was interrupted. Look, there they come, said Thomas. And yet, both Gordon and Scotsman arrived at the station, puffing in prominently and excitedly. At last, both engines made their way to the station, and they stopped at the platform. Everyone clapped and cheered for both engines, and they gave Scotsman a very warm reception. Sir Topham Hatt said his words. Gordon, I am very proud of you. You saved the day. You saved your brother, your only surviving one, not counting OCs, of course, from certain doom. And happy birthday, Flying Scotsman. I wish we had a cake, but engines don't eat cakes. No, they don't, said Thomas. It's great to see you, Scotsman. And happy 100 years, said Toby, who was also built by the LNER many years ago, way before Scotsman's time. Even Percy said his congratulations and whatnot. Annie, Claribel, and Henrietta were excited. Mallard was proud to see Flying Scotsman. Great to see you. Great to see you too there, Scotty, said Stepney. And everyone else, including myself, were very excited and eager. Welcome, once again, my dear Flying Scotsman, I said. And soon, the party began. And although there was no cake for Scotsman, let's just say that many celebrations had to be on hold because a big anniversary for an amazing and impressive engine took place once again. And even though Gordon was proud to call Flying Scotsman his brother, we all know that the Flying Scotsman is the only survivor in the real world. Aside from Gordon, but knowing that, Flying Scotsman was really proud to call his home once again the Island of Sodor.